first this morning, after more than a day of cleanup, train service is expected to resume today after a derailment near Keensburg. We first showed you the scene around this time yesterday. Colorado State Patrol says an Amtrak train hit a semi-truck carrying 10,000 gallons of milk after it failed to stop at a stop sign. That was Monday night. Right now, the train's engineer is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. 3 passengers also had minor injuries. BNSF, which owns the track, says this morning is the soonest those tracks would be safe for use. Right now, an Amtrak train heading east from California is set to travel through that stretch of track later today.
New this morning, the people of the newly formed town of Keystone have chosen their first ever leaders. In a historic all-mail ballot, voters Tuesday chose their new mayor, Ken Riley. He ran unopposed for that seat. He was also one of the leaders of the campaign to incorporate Keystone. Voters also chose 6 council members. Dan Sullivan, Gretchen Davis, and Aaron Parment will all serve 4-year terms along with Mayor Riley. Sarah Keel, Valerie Thisted, and Carol Kerr will serve 2-year terms. The winners will be seated next Thursday, and it could take a year for the town to be fully independent.
On the national level, Donald Trump is staying on the ballot in 2 states where there have been requests to remove him. The state's election board in Illinois unanimously decided not to remove the Republican frontrunner from the ballot. A petition to remove him cited the 14th Amendment. A Massachusetts state Supreme Court judge denied a similar attempt from voters there because Trump is not the official Republican nominee yet. Those decisions come about a week before the U.S. Supreme Court will hear Colorado's case for removing the former president from our primary ballots. Justices are set to hear those arguments next Thursday. The case centers around part of the 14th Amendment, which says anyone who has engaged in an insurrection cannot hold federal office. Justices have to decide whether that applies to Trump. Recently, 25 Civil War historians filed a brief with the U.S. Supreme Court stating their analysis of the 14th Amendment shows it was written to cover the president.
Whatever the Supreme Court's decision, immigration will be a key issue for the candidates for president. And this morning, where Denver is concerned, advocates say that the city is at its limit in helping migrants coming from the southern border. Here are the numbers as they stand right now. The city of Denver says that 3,963 migrants are currently in shelters. It also reported another 27 new arrivals yesterday. Next week, Denver will start to remove people from those shelters, but with more arriving every day, advocates say it may be time for Denver to put arrivals on pause.
If Denver is closed, then you're not going to get more people in the shelter. Therefore, there is room at the shelter, even a little longer.
Yoli Casas with Viva Wellness has led efforts by nonprofits to help those who have arrived from the southern border. She says 743 families currently need housing. Come Monday, the city will discharge 150 people from shelters, with more to follow every day. And while Casas says that taking a pause could help Denver catch up, the city's mayor says there's no real way to stem the flow.
We don't have good valves because most of those are controlled by the entry policies. I will say what we're looking at is, will we have a cap of what the total number of people are that we can serve in the city? Because that number is not unlimited. Even right now, if we stay at our current population of 5,000, that will be, as you know, about $180 million implication for our budget this year. That's almost 15% of the city budget.
The mayor made those comments during a town hall held by 9 News last night. That followed the presentation of the 9 News documentary Una Vida Nueva, which followed the stories of migrants who have resettled here. You can watch that documentary and the town hall Saturday at 5:30 on 9 News.
It's 6:05 right now, and new this morning, House Speaker Mike Johnson plans to address the contentious border deal today. But House Republicans who met with him recently say Johnson told them that deal is officially dead. Former President Trump has wanted to kill the deal so he can use it during his presidential campaign this year, but that has also left some Republican leaders feeling stuck.
Got to do everything we can to try and fix it. And if we can't get there, fine. But if we don't try, then shame on us.
Republicans say President Biden should use more executive actions to address immigration, but Biden says he's done all that he can without Congress. He also said the day he can sign a bipartisan bill to close the border, he'll shut it down. New this morning, members of the House Homeland Security Committee are moving forward with the impeachment of Homeland Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Early this morning, the committee voted along party lines to advance the resolution after 15 hours of debate. House Republicans claim Mayorkas committed high crimes Adams for his handling of the southern border. House Democrats say the evidence doesn't reach that high bar. The impeachment articles now move to the full House for a vote. If passed, Mayorkas would become the first cabinet secretary to be impeached in nearly 150 years. The heads of 5 major social media platforms will appear at the Capitol today. They're all set to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee in a hearing centered around protecting children online. Executives of TikTok, Meta, Discord, X, and Snap are all expected to appear to discuss their efforts to stop the sexual exploitation of children online.
Xcel brought in record profits in 2023 and now wants to charge more in 2024. Xcel is asking state regulators to approve a 10% rate hike on gas bills, the company's 5th increase in 4 years. It would add about $6 to the average residential customer's monthly gas bill. Xcel wants to bring in $171 million to cover the costs of maintaining its equipment. Last year, Xcel told investors that it brought in nearly $1.8 billion in profit, the 3rd straight year that profits have gone up.
The cost of fueling your car is also going up, and an even larger jump is on the horizon, according to analysts. According to Gas Buddy, the average gas price in Denver is now $2.66 a gallon, more than 20 cents higher than last week. An analyst with the company says prices could keep climbing as seasons change. The company says the average price may hit $3 by Memorial Day. The largest hike could come this summer when Denver transitions to selling reformulated gasoline to help cut down on emissions.
There could be some hot spots. There could be some abnormalities with making that transition over. So I would think that Denver could actually see prices spike a little bit more because of the risk.
DeHaan says reformulated gas typically costs 15 to 30 cents more per gallon than traditional summer gas. According to the EPA, reformulated gas will be sold in Denver, Fort Collins, Boulder, Greeley, and Loveland.
Leaders in Colorado are calling on the EPA to stick to strong federal clean car standards by March. It's all in the name of children who are having trouble breathing. 9 News reporter Anusha Roy joins us now in Anusha. We're talking about tens of thousands of kids impacted by poor air quality.
Yeah, we definitely are. And the ask is now coming from lawmakers, city leaders, parents, and nurses who are really worried about 2 things right now. That pollution standards can be weakened from the initial EPA proposal. They definitely don't want that. And they want to make sure that the rules are finalized well ahead of the November election. Climate experts have long said that transportation is the #1 source of air pollution and a leading source of greenhouse gas emissions in and around Denver. According to the City of Denver's Climate Action Office, the Denver Metro North Front Range has violated national health-based standards for ozone for years now.
Poor air quality harms everyone who breathes, but the effects are especially harmful for children who only have one chance to grow healthy lungs. Over 82,000 children in Colorado have been diagnosed with asthma. We know that asthma is a leading cause of school absenteeism, and outdoor pollution is a significant trigger for.
If you've ever seen someone with asthma struggle to catch their breath, or if you've experienced it yourself, you know how distressing it is. And it's also very distressing when the treatments that you've used in the past are no longer working.
So CDPHE shared data that there is evidence linking seasonal patterns with ER visits because of asthma with going back to school, weather, allergies, and then air pollution. The city of Denver said some families are spending as much as $2,000 a year on care at this point. The group is also asking for more support to ramp up EV productions and building out EV charging infrastructure. The governor did just announce the state received an $8.3 million federal grant that's going to be repairing and replacing 363 EV charging ports all across the state. I think it's around like 197 locations.
And this continues to be a really interesting fight, but it is a totally different game when you bring young children into it.
It is, right? And it catches your attention in a very different way. And it's something that families have been talking about for a really long time. And I know there's also a lot of work being done in Colorado to kind of overlay where people are going to the ER, why they're going, and geographically to really make that connection between air pollution, air quality, and how people are falling sick.
And that's just one of the health problems, right?
Yeah.
And you see them trying to do different things, like they were giving RTD rides for free for the summer to try to cut back, but clearly people are still going to drive cars. It's a big portion of the pollution, so you got to do something.
Got to do something, and they're trying to incentivize it as much as possible. Now they're just kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to hear back from the EPA. That's just taking in all of this input and then waiting on a finalized decision.
All right, well, Nusha, we appreciate your reporting. Let's get a check of your forecast now with Ed.
All right, one thing you want to know about the weather is clear skies right now on this live satellite picture over Colorado. But if you look to the south, we have a system that's going to push some clouds up into the state a little bit later on. And if you look off to the west, here we have the leading edge edge of the clouds. That's the next system heading our way. Before that happens, here's the Front Range forecast from Aurora all the way to Greeley and Fort Collins. We'll have partly sunny skies to start the day, clouds to end it, but temperatures stay mild.
All right, Ed, thank you. Sky 9 over a new scene for us this hour over a semi-truck fire. This is along the ramp from northbound Highway 285 to eastbound C470. It does look like at this point fire crews were able to get out the fire. We're just seeing a little bit of smoke here coming out of the back end of this semi-truck. Again, Sky 9 over this scene of Highway 285 northbound ramp that is closed because of this semi-truck fire that is being extinguished at eastbound C470. So in the Morrison area, if you're getting ready to head this way, this is part of your morning drive. That ramp right now is shut down. We will bring you any more details as soon as we learn it.